Right, to our staff reports, item 7, the council's submission on the New Zealand's emissions reduction plan 2630. So this is the government submission. So, is there any questions on this one? I personally think it's a really, really good submission. It is due today, so we can really only do minor tweaks to this one. The only thing we need to do with this one, I think, is we're agreeing that the mayor will sign it off and we appoint a representative of the council to share the views, requesting a meeting with the minister, and we need a representative to speak to that. Oh, welcome. So, do you think Councillor Templeton would be the appropriate person?
I'd move that if you're
Yep.
quite happy to do that.
Councillor Templeton, I think, and she's not here, but I assume she'd be happy to do it.
I think she's had input into
Yes, it does, doesn't it? Welcome, Tony. It's a really good report. I went through it trying to see if I could pick something that was missing, but I couldn't find anything. Is there anything you want to highlight to us?
No, I think we've. If you've read it, that's great. Just the point, I suppose, that it was circulated to you earlier, and so it hasn't changed. We haven't received any feedback from the earlier circulation, so that it remains consistent with the one you saw earlier. But obviously, we've spoken with other councils, including the Mayoral Forum and the Regional Council, and they have very consistent messages back to the government, which is effectively, do more, meet the targets, and also consider local government more, and be bold with their actions. So those sort of themes are consistent across different councils.
Yeah.
But I'm happy to answer your questions.
The only thing I wondered was that when you talk about, and I think it's on page 1110.14, the government is best placed to coordinate and take the lead. And I know you're talking about education, but in actual fact, we've always said local government is kind of the best place for that, and that would lead me to point that out and request resourcing for it. What do you think? Can you comment on that?
Yes, certainly. I mean, I guess the theme was that the government could have a nationwide sort of approach to its engagement and communications with the residents of New Zealand. So you're right that local government has a particular role as well, especially with the services we provide, so public transport and waste and minimisation and those sorts of things. But if you want us to change that submission point, we can certainly add a bit more detail there if you want.
Just add perhaps something like, we need to work in partnership.
Yes.
But the local government has a leading role, but resourcing is required to do that. I mean, can you...
Yep, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So Councillor McDonald has a question.
There was only one thing, was if we could look at adding in, because we've talked about the idea of needing to do more and make things easier. I just thought we may have referenced the fast track legislation, which if you think about energy use across the country, that's going to speed up the ability to decarbonise, if we think about hydro dams and all of that kind of stuff. So it would be good to mention something like that, so that when it's presented, we're reflecting the fact that we know there are challenges, but we need to make the system easier to make progress in.
Sure, thank you. I can make that point. Yes, we'll add it into the energy section.
Cool.
Councillor Scandrett, did you want to move it? Councillor Johansson?
Yeah, I just had two questions. I was a bit confused about 22. And basically it says the city has developed an agreed investment plan to improve public transport in the city. We're requesting that the Greater Christchurch public transport futures and mass rapid transit projects are included in the emission reduction plan. I thought the government had already agreed to the transport futures, but if not, are we able to signal what the quantum of funding request is? Because it's very vague, and it might be quite good to actually just specifically highlight what the quantum is that we're seeking from government.
Sure, thank you. You can make that change. I mean, I guess the observation there was most of the funding proposed in the emission reduction plan was all for North Island projects. So effectively the South Island was not included in any of the...
There seems to be some confusion about whether we've got any money for our Greater Christchurch public transport futures program
Sure.
from government? Does anyone know? Did it all just get cut, or?
Couldn't confirm that.
Okay.
We'll get you information about
Okay,
that.
because we've
I
got the
don't think it's been
transport one
confirmed yet.
coming up. But again, I think, yeah, if we can be specific about what's currently funded and what's unfunded and what the request is, I think that would be helpful. And just the second point from me was on 26 and 27. We talk about the different ports, but one submission point I think we've made in the past, which we don't include in here, is the need for a national infrastructure strategy around ports and airports. And we don't have any, but I know our companies in the past, when we've raised it, I think have generally been quite sympathetic. So instead of having every city compete to build new infrastructure or expand our existing infrastructure bigger and bigger, that's financially and environmentally unsustainable, actually having a national strategy around what we do as a country might be quite beneficial. So I was just wondering if maybe we could just add a word point in there.
Understand? Thank you.
Is that all right, Tony?
Yes, sure.
Okay. And then I just had another one here in number 43, page 114, nitrogen fertiliser. Revenue could be used to fund the development and uptake of further mitigation technologies, and also supporting regenerative farming, because that doesn't rely heavily on nitrogen either. Do you think, is that okay? I'm asking you if everything's okay, because
Yes, of
this
course.
is last minute stuff, and
that's
if you
totally
have
fine.
an issue, just tell us.
This is your submission, and it needs to reflect your
Yeah, but
wishes.
we want your guidance on whether that's okay to include it and whether it's any point in including it.
Thank you. So regenerative farming is certainly a strategy farms can take to reduce their inputs and reduce their impacts. So you're right. It's a key. It's an opportunity for New Zealand to be a leader in regenerative farming, and that's roughly about the right location to put that information.
Fantastic. Okay. Oh, Councillor Donovan.
Just following up on the point around the fast track legislation, around point 32, I just want to make sure that we don't sort of send mixed messages around enabling emissions through opening up things that would, promote more emissions. So just making sure that we're clear on that point.
Effectively what I'm meaning, and I'm sure we'll be able to capture it, is that there's benefit in the fast track because of some aspects allow for more environmental activities to occur. So as long as we can capture that, that would be good.
Yes,
Obviously noting Celeste's point to be specific on the benefit of the fast track.
Thank you. Yes, it is possible, of course, for fast tracking mining, for example, activities. So yeah. So the point, we're talking about renewable energy solutions, aren't we here?
That's
Yeah,
right.
correct. Yep.
And emission reduction, so
Yep.
you wouldn't put anything else in. Okay. Has this been moved? No. Did you want to move it, Councillor Scandrett?
Yeah, I'll move it. And, are we going to debate or just?
Yeah, we can. And a seconder? Councillor Fields? So open up for debate. Councillor Scandrett?
Yeah, thank you very much for the work you've done on this. This is a huge journey for the world and for us as well. But I do think as we go forward, we do have to be sensitive. If we look at the farming community, the suicides on farms, etc., the pressure they are under with climate change and the restrictions that are being placed on them, they're almost unfair where other industries are kind of let loose almost and untouched. So I think that we've got to be sensitive of those around us. And I do think we need to put pressure on central government, irrelevant of the political parties, about legislation to support what communities are looking for and need for the future. Because it's not about us. Well, me, I'm kind of more over the hill than some of you. But the next generations, and we've got to really start this journey now. And so to you guys, thank you so much for your work you're doing. May not always agree 100% with it, but it's definitely going the right way and we have to go there. So thank you.
Thank you.
Well said. Anybody else? I'd just like to support your comments. An excellent submission, really clearly outlined and not too wordy. Clear and concise is important. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Opposed? That's carried. Well, and one abstention from Councillor Henstock.
2 abstentions.
Oh,
And Kieran.
and Councillor Curran. Right.
Thank you.